Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm using the new Pick Me Up collection again for today's page. Now I'm starting this layout with one of Paige's older cut files, and I believe this one came out around Christmas time. It's called the Bright Star cut file. And then I've cut a bunch of little mini stars from Pick Me Up paper 10, and here's the paper. I went ahead and did this cameo cutting before I started filming, and these stars are also Paige's cut files, and those are called spooky stars. So I wanted to just kind of play around for a few minutes before I started working with this star. And if you have the mini thickers from this collection, then you've noticed this is the backing paper. It's this gorgeous rainbow paper, and I wanted to just play around with it and see what it would look like behind a cut file, and I think it looks really cool. So I'm definitely going to use that in some way on a future layout. But for this layout, I wanted to use the Pick Me Up washi tape book. And so what I'm going to do is create strips of the washi tape on a piece of cardstock that I traced. I took the cut file and traced the star, and I'm going to use that as my base. And so I'm just going to tear up some of these washi tape strips and basically cover up that white star, and then I'm gonna put the cut file on top of it again. So I'm kind of backing a cut file, you could say, but just in a little bit of a different way. So I haven't chosen my picture yet. I have a picture that you just saw me play with a minute ago. That's not the picture that I'm going to use, but it's at this point it's the picture that I'm just kind of using where I want the picture to go, but I'm going to choose another one later. Now the fun thing about the washi tape is that there are lots of colors, lots of patterns, and you get several strips of different colors, and so you don't get a whole roll of it. And I've got this entire thing covered. I think it looks pretty cool, and so I'm going to see what it looks like when I put the cut file back on top of it, and then go ahead and trim up the edges. So what I want to do is color the word bright, and my first thought was to color it pink, because there's a lot of different shades of pinks and purples and just really deep rich colors in the washi tape. And so I'm going to use two colors of the Distress Oxides. I think I've got Worn Lipstick and Picked Raspberry. And when I put it back over the washi tape, it just winds up being too much pink, and it blends in. You can't really even see what the word says. So I kind of play around with it for a while to get it like I like it. I did do some stitching on the star here. I did some zigzag stitching, some straight stitching, just to add a little bit of gold, because there are some gold foiled pieces in the washi tape. So my first thought was to make the bright stand out, I needed to kind of white out some areas on the washi tape. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and that's white gesso. I'm just trying to blend out some of the color and pattern behind the GHT. And then I thought maybe if I darkened it up a little bit, it would stand out even more. And this is my cameo cutting mat that I'm using here. I've got the cover on it, and it resists water and ink and everything, and so using that as my base here. So I thought I would maybe darken it up, and it's still not standing out as much as I thought. So I'm going to add more gesso, and I really didn't want to cover up any of the washi tape, but if I wanted the word to show up, then I needed it to stand out. So I decided to scrap the pink, and I'm going to change the color. And this is something that you could do if you make a mistake and you think it's going to work, but it doesn't. Stick your finger in some white gesso and basically cover it up. And I let it dry, did another coat, and you can even tell that, I did pink because I covered it up. So I decided to make bright a yellow color, and so this is also Distress Oxide. That's the Fossilized Amber, I think it's called. And I like how that turned out a lot better. I think it's going to be more visible. And the word is bright, and so, yellow, I think of the sun, I think of bright yellow colors. And so I thought it was a better fit once I got it on there. And so yeah, the beauty of gesso, covering it up and you wouldn't even know it. So I did add clear gesso to my background, and then I lightly traced around the background of the star, And so I'm going to jazz up my background. I went through several pattern papers, but everything, it just, since the star is so busy, all the pattern papers just sort of took away from the star, I guess. So I thought I would just go with white and create my own artsy, messy background, trying to recreate some of the colors that are in the star. And again, I've really become addicted to these distress oxides, and my husband got me several colors for Christmas, and so I have been loving them. And I'm mixing and matching a couple of colors together. This is a darker blue, I think it's blue jeans or faded jeans with the, goodness, I can't remember the colors. It's a purple color. Seedless preserves maybe. And look how pretty it looks. It created this really pretty purplish pink. I love it. So the fun thing about the distress oxides is you can use them like I just did with the plastic packaging, or you can use them dry and smudge them on to create this hazy faded look. And I'm using a little foam ink blending tool there, and I'm just going over the areas here with some of that darker faded jeans color, and it's looking like this really pretty deep indigo purple color, which is cool because that color is in this collection. And I really am loving this color scheme and how this background turns out. I just want it to look kind of messy and, you know, hazy and watercolory, just kind of peeking out from behind the star. And this technique is so much fun. It's addicting. I just wanted to keep going and cover up the entire background because of the fun factor. It really is a lot of fun to do this. All you need is some of the distress oxides and some plastic packaging and a little bit of water. And here's another technique on how to use them. Use them with a brush and splatter them down and basically treat it like you would a watercolor. So I think that is the prettiest color scheme. I love it. Especially this blue and purple mixed together. It's so deep and rich. And I decided to add a little bit of pink, and so I do grab a Shimmers. This is a Shimmers Spritz. It's called Ruby. And it just adds a little bit of a subtle pink. I love how that looks. So I'm going to put the star back on top of it and see how we've come so far and see if I need to add anything. And of course, you know, I do, because I always have to add more. And I think I'm going to add in some, oh wait, that's still more of the purple color there. I do come back in with some pink here at some point. Yeah, so my thought was I wanted to use the big star as the focal point and then come in with those little stars that I cut out kind of scattered all around and behind it. And I wind up not even using them because I felt like once I got my background done, it looked best without a bunch of patterned stars behind it. I think it just made it look busy and you lost some of the impact of the little stars. So I just went with the big star, and I'm going to save all those little stars because they are definitely usable for other projects. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down so it's one piece. And now I'm going to trim off the edges so the letters of the word bright don't have any excess piece of that cardstock behind it. And I love how that looks. And here's the picture that I am going to use. I decided to go with a color picture, and of course it's a pool picture. It's from a few years ago, but I really like the colors. Her suit is sort of that teal color, aqua, minty, green color, and I just think it matches well. And I wanted to use a color photo. I use black and white so much, and when I'm able to use a color photo, I definitely want to. And so I felt like there was enough solid colors behind her. Like the hedge looks really dark, and so it makes her upper body stand out against all the pattern in the star, and it's not too busy of a picture, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I am going to use a couple of pieces from the 6x6 Pick Me Up paper pad as layers behind the picture, and it's just something subtle to kind of separate the picture from all that pattern in the star. And it's, you know, it's not anything that's going to stand out, but it's going to give this subtle separation, and you'll see how I'm talking about here. It just kind of gives it a little bit of a border so it doesn't compete with all of that background washi tape. So now I'm going to start embellishing. Here's where I try to bring in some of the stars again, and I felt like since I have all this color going on already, it just didn't, I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. So I start to play around with some of the chipboard and some of the rub-ons and the stickers, and I did do some stitching. I went around the perimeter of the star, and I used gold thread. And then I'm going to trim off the little corner of where the photo sticks out so the star looks nice and neat. And then I try again with the stars, but just didn't seem to work. So whenever I get to a point and I'm thinking, what do I do next? I haven't glued anything down, and I know when I add thread like this, I like to do it usually before I glue everything down, and so I want to get it in place to see how it looks before I glue the big heart down. So I'm going to bring in some matching colors. I've got the golden yellow color, the aqua color, some bright pink, and then I'm going to come in with some of the embellishments. I really like this floral piece. I think I'm going to use that right there. I wasn't going to use flowers at first because I was really just going to go with stars everywhere, and then that changed. And I definitely hadn't planned on using any of the moths, but I wind up using quite a bit of them on this layout. And they really don't even have anything to do with a star, but I just like the way it looked. And so, you know, I'm going to do it. Sometimes things don't have to make sense. And, you know, sometimes the reason is just because I like the way it looks. I thought it looked pretty. It matched. It went well. And it's okay if things don't make 100% sense. That sentence didn't even make sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. You know, I liked the star when I was browsing through the cut files. I thought, I haven't used that yet, and I just want to make something with it. And so the rest of the layout just sort of fell together as I started going. And I love when that happens. You know, just because you have an idea. Oh yeah, I did add some foam behind that star. I guess I cut that out. But I did add some foam underneath it. But I love when that happens, when you think you have an idea in your mind of how you want the project to turn out in the end. And as you make it, things change, and you find out you like something else more, something else better. And the end result is nothing like you imagined, but it's even better, or it's completely different, and you still love it. And I think that's part of the fun of doing this. I'm adding on a rub-on down there. I wanted it to be kind of subtle, so I've got 3 points of clusters of flowers. So on the upper right, then you bounce over to the left, and then you bounce back to the right. So it's kind of like a triangle of flowers. And then I went kind of rub-on happy, and I added the rub-ons down at the bottom, and then I added another rub-on just now, a star above the picture, and it's just a real subtle star. And then I'm going to use this little moth here. I'm just trying to figure out where to put it. I wind up putting it over on the left. And then I'm going to complete my title. I'm going to use some of the mini thickers, and I'm going to spell out the word Sunshiny. And I'm going to use the white thickers. I think these are some of the most versatile thickers ever because they're tiny, but they're the perfect size. They're white. They stick really well. These are easily colored. I haven't done that yet. I've done it in the past with other thickers, but since they're foam, you could rub some of that Distress Oxide right on top of them and customize the color and totally change the color. Then I'm going to use the chipboard thickers and spell out the word day. So Bright Sunshiny Day is the title. And I fussy cut out more moths, like I said. I didn't think I was going to, but it just happened. So I'm going to stick a couple of those around the page. And then I'm going to use this one, well, not right now, but I'm going to come back to it. That's the sticker sheet. I'm going to add in more chipboard stickers. This is a little piece that says, I've already forgotten what it says. I can't read it from here. It's too small. But it's on the chipboard stickers. And I like the pink, and I like the fact that it has gold foil on it. And I definitely wanted to use this big mint green moth or butterfly, so I'm going to stick it right underneath the picture. Add a little bit of journaling lines, write my journaling, and then I think I'm going to finish it off with some, guess what, Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine. And I think that's going to wrap it up. I do a little bit of stitching through the word day and then right underneath it, and then I add the date. But that's the final layout. I am obsessed with this color scheme, and those Distress Oxides are super fun. They match this collection so well. And just look at all that color. It's so pretty. I love it. Make sure you check out the Pick Me Up collection if you haven't. I've seen a lot of people already getting their hands on it and making beautiful projects with it. And also make sure you check out the Silhouette store. That's where you can get Paige's cut files. She also has an Etsy store where you can purchase them for using them on your Cricut and your Scan and Cut. So she has everybody covered. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time.